I'm in Houston, Texas, the hometown. I have just about enough time to visit one store, Relics. It's close to by the house, but it's also the best one-stop shop for everything 80s. This is crazy. It's windy out here. It's gonna blow me away. Just head on inside, check out Relics. Awesome toy store, and just all kinds of vintage stuff in there. Let's go. The first showcase here by the entrance has a mix of Transformers, a bunch of 80s toys. We got Thundercats here as well, and Ninja Turtles. Just a bunch of loose figures, but a nice selection. And down at the bottom there's more randomness of 80s action figures. You got Battlestar Galactica, some Tron, D&D. It's a cool little mix. You can't have an 80s retro store without having some records. And Relics has a nice selection of vintage records here. Nice selection. You got some RoboCop Dokken, Kiss, Public Enemy. I mean, a great selection if you're into vinyl. Some Ozzy Osbourne in the back. And a whole bunch of cool little tchotchkes here, like this old telephone. We used to have one of these in the house growing up. I can't believe how much has changed. This is crazy. Now you just touch screens on your phone, you know. Got some cool vintage Houston Rockets hats from the championship days. A bunch of cassette tapes as well. This table had a whole bunch of vintage posters. A lot of movie posters here, as well as toy posters, music posters. I was tempted to pick some of these up. Like I said, traveling and luggage space is always a problem. I almost bought this Master Universe poster, but it had a big rip in the middle of the poster, so I was definitely had to pass on it, which was unfortunate. As you can see here, that turtle one as well, it's kind of in bad shape. Not worth picking up, but cool nonetheless to see. It's been a while since I've seen a big poster collection like this. That right there was Batman Returns. But yeah, like there's me having a second thought on that poster, but just ultimately could not do it. Over here on top of this showcase, you got a whole bunch of random toys. You got some vintage robots. You got some supernaturals. You got a Spawn vehicle with that clown there. Brave Star, Centurions, a bunch of 80s items here. Very cool to see. Voltron as well. Here's a very cool Fisher Price Ferris wheel. Very awesome to see. And you got that Dick Tracy car. That's a cool one. That one has to be maybe 60s or 70s. Their Mego section's also pretty good. They got that whole Star Trek set over there in the back. And you got the Bigfoot there. Very rare piece. Over here next to this, we got some carded wrestling figures. We even had Master Universe figure, a couple of G.I. Joes, and real Ghostbusters down here at the bottom. Joker from the Superpowers line, as well as the Penguin. Yeah, there's a new Penguin TV show coming out. I think it's based off that Batman movie, the last Batman movie. But here we have a whole stack of vintage books, and these coloring books were really cool, untouched, not colored in. Usually when you find coloring books, vintage ones, there's always like a few pages colored in. I mean, if you had coloring books as a kid, you were gonna color in them. So to see coloring books, especially old ones from the 80s, untouched, it's pretty awesome. The artwork on them is really cool. And this case right here, there's just a whole bunch of little pins, a whole bunch of small little vintage items, watches, wallets, and buttons, even knives. And if you're in the market for some Master Universe, they have plenty here, especially He-Mans and Skeletors, Battle Cats and Panthers. They have a whole bunch. And they're definitely not low on that. G.I. Joe. A lot of you G.I. Joe fans, they definitely have a nice selection here of G.I. Joes. A couple of Lexors in the box. And Superpowers, one of my favorite toy lines. I'm still trying to complete it. I am so close to completing it. I believe I just need a Mr. Freeze action figure and I am done. Secret Wars is another line I am trying to complete. Here's more of those G.I. Joes. I always want to pick up G.I. Joes, but man, it's kind of overwhelming the amount of figures that are in that toy line. And they come with so many accessories too. So especially if getting complete is always tough. Now this neon light, Houston Rockets neon light, was very, very awesome to see. It was up in a bar, that's what the owner told me. And for those of you that have been following me for a long time, you know I used to work for the Houston Rockets when I lived in Houston before moving out to California. And then over here is the Star Wars section. You got that Chewbacca there. And then some of the loose vintage action figures. There goes the Max Rebo band. That's a cool set right there. Some vehicles like the X-Wing. Some more of the 12-inch figures down at the bottom. You got Boba Fett, a Stormtrooper, TIE Fighter. And then you want to pimp yourself out more in the 80s nostalgia, get yourself a BMX bike. They have a whole bunch of bikes here, as well as bike parts and accessories, so you can ride down the street in style. This section right here is most of the 90s toys they have in the store. You have, of course, Marvel Toy Biz. Down here, there's a cool Wolverine talking figure with the little backpack. Put batteries in it and it talks, has all these phrases there. Old Toys R Us sticker on it, and behind there's an Incredible Hulk. Also with the talking feature, and then looks like they have a whole bunch of them, as you can see here. So there are no short figures of those Toy Biz ones. And if you're into pop culture items, Americana, they have it here as well. That Coca-Cola thermometer was very cool. I almost picked it up myself, but had to pass on it. Just space and traveling, it's always an issue. But if you want to complete your 80s look, Relics has a whole rack full of vintage t-shirts. Right here I'm looking at the kids vintage shirts. Check out this awesome Mask PJ shirt. Oh, this is so cool. Pac-Man as well. But yeah, they have a great selection of vintage shirts, not just for the kids, for the grown-ups as well. They have a whole bunch of concert shirts, and it's just a whole bunch of cool stuff. Out the refried relics, I picked up a bag of goodies, which I'll show you guys when I get back home to San Diego. I was in Houston, Texas for spring break, visiting family. Great time. I love going back, miss my family. We just got so busy with family stuff that I only had time to visit one toy store, and Refried Relics is the closest to my mom's house. So I had time just to visit Refried Relics, but it was a cool visit because I always love going to that shop. Portal, the owner, awesome dude. Love catching up with him, talking toys. And as you can see in the video, the store has a little bit of everything. If you're into 80s, anything 80s, you got toys, you got BMX bikes, music. There's a bunch of vinyl there, vintage clothing. He has it all. It's a one-stop shop for anything 80s. If that's you want to live that 80s lifestyle, check out Refried Relics. I didn't pick up too many items. I picked up some shirts and one action figure. There's a bin there on the floor. It was just a bin full of vintage t-shirts and things for $5. Everything there was $5. So I ended up picking up a few items. I'll probably end up flipping these. I mean, they were $5. Here's a cool like NASA shirt, Challenger. The back has a very cool print on the back. The Challenger spaceship with the spaceman right there and a satellite. So very cool, very clean, like a light blue shirt. I mean, for $5, can't beat it. I could probably get like $20, 25 for it. So that was my intention of picking these items up. You know, why not? And here's another cool vintage piece from the Virgin Islands Carnival. This is 1994. It's a very cool print. People that are into like vintage clothing love this kind of stuff right here. Cool, these little vacation shirts from tropical spots. So very clean, single stitch if you know about vintage clothing. But yeah, this is cool. Another cool 5-piece. And then this one as well. This is a sweater, a crew neck sweater. Like clean. This thing is like in mint condition. I bought this one to resell, but my wife, she used to watch Beverly Hills 90210, so she ended up she's keeping this for herself. She's not letting me sell this one. But for $5, mint condition, has that puffy print on there, which is pretty cool. So yeah, she's gonna be keeping this one for the cold nights here in San Diego. It gets chilly. So that, yeah, that's the clothing I picked up from the $5 bin. So pretty cool. Hopefully I make a couple bucks off those t-shirts. The one action figure I did pick up was the Dungeons and Dragons action figure, the North Lord, right here. So very cool. I saw this in one of the glass cases and I knew I had to have them. I'm slowly collecting Dungeons and Dragons figures. I never collected these when I was a kid, had them, but I'm appreciating them as an adult. I love all the like fantasy movies and stuff like that. The Sword and Sandal movies like Conan and all that stuff. Anything with like dragons and stuff. So I love the figures. They're very cool. And you've heard it here before. I love that Fortress of Fangs playset, which is ultimately the goal for collecting some of these, just to have figures around that playset. Whenever I do get it, hopefully I do get it one of these days in the future. But yeah, the North Lord was the only figure I picked up today, but it was a cool pickup. That's gonna do it for today's video from Refried Relics in Houston, Texas. Give him a follow on Instagram. He's always posting things, and they always have sales at that store if you live in the Houston area. Thanks again, everybody, for watching. Let me know what you thought of the video, what you saw in the store that you would have picked up for yourself, and let me know what kinds of things you're picking up for your collections. I'm SoCal Shaolin. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Catch you on the next toy hunt. I am out.